Arsenal is one of the most successful clubs of all time. The Gunners have been English champions 13 times, while they also hold the distinction of having won the most FA Cups in their history and being the only club to win the Premier League without losing a single match. Their campaign this year has been amazing, and no matter what happens by the end of the season, every Gunner should be happy that their club is finally headed in the right direction after so many years in football limbo. Many great players have won that famous red and white shirt throughout the years, and today it's time for me to rank them. So without further ado, this is Thrones FC, greatest Arsenal 11 of all time. Goalkeeper, David Seaman. This is one of the easiest choices in this 11. Very few people apart from George Graham, Arsenal's coach at the time, projected the impact Seaman would have in North London following his arrival from QPR in 1990. However, not only did he end the fan favourite John Lukic's tenure behind the Ivory Six, but also went on to register 564 appearances and win 8 major trophies. For those who never saw him play, he was brave, commanding in the air, and blessed with superhuman reflexes. Furthermore, his performances with England saw him achieve even more notoriety, especially at the Euro 96 tournament. David Seaman is undoubtedly the best Arsenal goalkeeper. Right back, Lee Dixon. Dixon was one of the most successful Arsenal players of all time. 4 league titles, 3 FA Cups, and 1 Cup Winners' Cup. Individually, he participated in 619 matches and scored 28 goals despite his position on the field. I think you get the picture. Dixon was also a player that could also impact the game in many ways. His sense of positioning enabled him to flow up and down the pitch without overexposing his right flank. Additionally, he was proficient with both feet, often supplying brilliant slashing crosses to the Arsenal frontman. His skill on the ball was majestic for anyone, especially a defender. Centre back, Tony Adams. How could I possibly leave Mr. Arsenal out of this 11? Adams won 13 trophies with Arsenal in a total of 504 matches for the club. He was a personification of success, an exemplary leader who played for nearly 20 years. Adam was the rock of manager George Graham's defense, who called him his Colossus, and the do-it-all man at the back for Arsène Wenger, who later described him as a professor of defense. This man captained one of the greatest eras of Arsenal football, and his impact was, and still is, immeasurable. Centre back, Sol Campbell. One of the most athletically gifted centre-backs to ever grace the Premier League, Sol Campbell was also involved in one of the most iconic transfers in English football's history when he left Tottenham Hotspur for their neighbours and rivals Arsenal. Despite only spending 5 seasons with the Gunners, which isn't much compared to the aforementioned players, his impact was inestimable. He revitalized the Gunners' defense with his quickness, despite his enormous frame, being perfectly crafted for the hardship of the modern Premier League. His physicality both in his tackles and in the air were unmatched during his time with Arsenal, which ultimately contributed to 2 league titles and the club's best ever participation in the Champions League, just to name a few of his achievements. Left back, Nigel Winterburn. This one was a bit difficult. On one hand, I see Ashley Cole as a better player than Winterburn, but on the other hand, he left Arsenal for their city rival Chelsea. From an Arsenal fan point of view, I believe this would be their choice. Nigel Winterburn was also part of one of the most iconic Arsenal's back lines in the 90s, winning 3 league titles and a Cup Winners' Cup in the process. A tenacious defender who could also read the game really well and attack when he felt timely, Nigel scored 12 goals in 584 appearances as a Gunner. Central midfielder, Patrick Vieira. Starting the midfield line with the best midfielder to have ever won the Arsenal kit. This is my opinion, of course, but you have to admit that he was a centerpiece to that invincible season, and his departure could be linked to the club's downfall, as Arsenal spent 9 years without winning a trophy since Vieira left in 2005. He was a very physical box-to-box midfielder who felt like an octopus in the field due to his long legs and aggressive style of play. He was also a renowned leader who captained the Gunners from 2002 until 2005. He left Arsenal in 2005 in the best way possible, scoring the winning penalty to conquer the FA Cup against Man United. What a legend. Right midfielder, Robert Pires. During a period of his stay in England, he was arguably the best winger in the Premier League. He was known for his ability to cut in from the wing and either play a perfect crossover or fire one into the back of the net. For 3 consecutive seasons, he scored over 15 goals. He scored the most in the 2003-2004 season when Arsenal became the first, and so far, only team to ever go unbeaten in the Premier League. Though Pires was often criticized for being flat-footed, Arsenal fans will let you know that you had mistaken that for balance and speed. The winger had fantastic acceleration and would destroy wingbacks if given the chance. Unlike Patrick Vieira, he didn't have a great farewell when he left Arsenal, as his last match was a Champions League final defeat at the hands of Barcelona, where he came off at the 12th minute after Jens Lehmann was sent off. Left midfielder, Freddie Ljungberg. He came to Arsenal as an unknown Swedish player and left a club legend. The Swedish pocket rocket, known for bursting down the wings, devastated defenses throughout the late 90s and 2000s with his fantastic crossing ability. He was always a fan favourite at Arsenal after scoring against Man United in his debut, but perhaps his best period was during the Invincible season. Ljungberg was also a player who could definitely perform under pressure, as he scored in many important games, including 2 consecutive FA Cup finals. Attacking midfielder, Liam Brady. Brady was a complete midfielder. He was fast, strong, agile, intelligent, and a great leader. The Irishman joined Arsenal in 1971 as a 15-year-old and made his debut at the young age of 17. In his second season at the club, he became a first-team regular, putting in some outstanding performances and forming a great partnership with Alan Ball. He won Player of the Year 3 times during his time with Arsenal, really showing his star quality as a player. And he was also part of that team that won the 1979 FA Cup. Though that was his only major trophy at Arsenal, he will forever be remembered as a club legend. Second striker, Dennis Bergkamp. The cream of the talent-breeding Dutch machine, Dennis Bergkamp was a one-in-a-million player. Unlike most players, the impact that Bergkamp had was not made by the number of goals, assists, or trophies that he won. He had a brilliant mind who saw the game of football like an art form. He saw things in his mind and could execute imagined moves perfectly with his technique. In 1995, Arsenal were a boring defensive side, and his arrival was a catalyst to the transformation in the club as the Gunners turned into a very attacking and creative side. Like I've stated before, Bergkamp won't go down as a serial winner, but an artist of the game who could solve a match with 3 touches and inspire an entire fan base to expect beautiful football from their club. Centre forward, Thierry Henry. This man has won everything that a player could ever dream of. League titles in different countries, Champions League, Euro Championship, World Cup, you name it. He's also Arsenal's top goal scorer and has gifted the club not only with his goals, but with his attitude on and off the field. A true gentleman, Henry created a bond with the fans that was cherished and still is from both sides. Henry joined Arsenal from Juventus in 1999, and in the 7 seasons that he stayed in London, he won the Premier League Golden Boot a record 4 times, 2 FA Cups and 2 Premier League titles, including 1 during an unbeaten Invincible season. Henry spent his final 2 seasons with Arsenal as a club captain, leading them to the 2006 UEFA Champions League final that they unfortunately couldn't win. A club legend, and in my opinion, the best Arsenal player ever to finish off this 11. Manager, Arsène Wenger. Quite an obvious choice despite his unsuccessful last years at the club. Wenger is the longest serving and most successful manager in Arsenal's history, having won 70 trophies with the club and being extremely close to European glory on 2 occasions. His contribution to English football through changes to scouting, players training and diet regimens revitalized Arsenal and ended the globalization of the sport in the 21st century. Wenger also created superstars such as Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry and Cesc Fabregas and oversaw the move to a new stadium. It's fair to say that Wenger helped raise the club's stature considerably with all his successes early on, and if it wasn't for him, Arsenal wouldn't have reached the heights that they did. And that is it for the video. Is my full 11 and also the bench. Make sure to leave in the comments your favorite 11 as I read through all of your submissions. Thank you for reaching the end of the video. If you appreciate content like this, maybe you like this video. I'll see you in the next one.